once in a while, a game hits the shelves that we all become addicted to. These games are often hard to describe, and even harder to figure out what makes them so fun. But the more we play them, the more fun they become, and Amplitude is just such a game. So what is Amplitude?
Well, it kind of falls between genres in that it's kind of a music game. The game experience is built around different rock songs and hip-hop songs and so forth. But it's also got some action elements where you're basically shooting through this 3D landscape, exploding gems.
Picture yourself out on a multi-lane highway with a ship hovering over that highway. And on each lane of that highway are gems that hold a sound. They'll hold maybe a kick drum or a guitar riff or a vocal track. And by using it as a shooter and blasting these gems, you unlock those sounds. If you connect a certain amount of gems in a row successfully, you'll unlock that track.
So what we've really been trying to do is strive to get that balance built into Amplitude. So you get that musical buzz that you get out of making music, but it's really in the service of winning.
The soundtrack for Amplitude is like no other game you've played. In fact, the game features over 20 major artists spanning multiple musical genres.
There's so many great bands on this game. We got David Bowie, Run DMC, Weezer, Garbage, Blink-182, the Baldwin Brothers, Karashi. They're a rap band from Iceland. They're very cool.
You would think that getting artists of this caliber would be difficult, but since most of them are huge PlayStation fans, it wasn't so hard. The challenging part started after they signed on.
When a band is recording a song, the way that they lay their song down is they record each instrument track by track. So they'll lay down the drum track, and then they'll put down bass and guitar until it's all filled up, and then they'll do a final mix that kind of glues it all together. In Amplitude, we were able to get the original master recordings from all the artists in the game. So what that basically means is we have separated recordings of the bass, the drums, the guitar, and then we have a full team here of musicians that basically take all the different sounds from the song and chop it up into very minute chunks and basically rip the song apart and stick it all back together again.
That way, when we put it into the game and all the parts are activated, it emulates the final mix. It gives us access to each individual element of that song. It gives you a chance to interact with each element of that song. You can go in when you're remixing it and create your own drum beat based on all the drum sounds that are available to you in that song. Or you can take a guitar riff and play it back a different way.
The team didn't know what to expect from some of the bigger name groups, but was encouraged early on by the feedback they'd received.
We hooked up with the X-ecutioners at an early stage of development here, and we played them the game, and they were really into it. And everybody here is a big fan of those guys, so we wanted to find a way to get them involved.
We remixed King of Rock, classic Run DMC song. Rob Swift is scratching some guitars on it. I'm scratching and breaks, he's scratching through it. So it's collaboration of all three stuff with their stuff. 3-on-3, I guess, was.
I was really impressed by the game. Being a musician, being a person who uses samplers and turntables, to find out that there was a game out there to cater to my creativity, to cater to my urge to want to blend music together and blend sounds together was really interesting. And I remember when I first started playing it, I got hooked like in the first couple of minutes of playing it.
But it's more than just the music that separates Amplitude from the other games. It also has a visual style that's unmatched.
In Amplitude, you're going to have to work your way through 5 different arenas that all exist in this cyberspace world. Each arena is going to have 5 paths through it. You're going to have to play through each song on each of those paths in that arena before you can progress through to the next arena. There's going to be a boss level at the end of the arena, which is going to be a little bit tougher. Visually, it's going to be a lot different than the rest of the paths through there. And you're going to have to beat that before you can go on to the next one.
Our process for designing arenas is pretty much the process that we follow with all the art. It's very much based on Hollywood-style production. We start off with pre-production, we do drawings, we write documents, we try and think the whole world through. We connect one arena to another arena. And once we get all the exciting things hashed out and we get all the cool new looks worked out, it just turns into a production mode. We'll check out some cool new games that are coming out and be like, oh, there's a great special effect. Let's incorporate that.
The music and visuals combine to create a game experience that's like no other.
There's a couple different modes to Amplitude in single player mode. It's just you traveling through these worlds on this path, trying to activate all of the individual music parts. So essentially what you're doing is you're building the song up track by track. Each song actually has 4 different difficulty levels, which is going to allow for a lot of replayability.
There's 2 different multiplayer modes in Amplitude. There's just the regular game mode, whereby you try to beat your friends and get a higher score. There's also multiplayer remix, where the point is not so much to win the game, but to just collaborate creatively with somebody making music, so that you can play a bass part, somebody else is playing a drum part. Up to 4 people can collaborate at the same time in laying down a new tune. We have developed a new mode that we're very excited about, which is duel mode, which is kind of a cross between competition and creativity, whereby you get to pound out custom phrases on different instruments, and then the other player has to match your phrase. And that's proving to be really fun, and it's a completely different game experience than the stuff we built before.
Playing Amplitude at home is definitely addictive, but the excitement gets turned up a notch when you go online. There you'll find thousands of other musical freaks waiting to challenge you in a live musical jam session.
Amplitude can be played online, which is amazing. You can experience this game not only with perhaps your standard group of friends or family, but with vast variety of different kinds of people. It allows you to play anytime you want.
Amplitude works great on either a dial-up connection or broadband. It's very heavily optimized so that broadband and dial-up folks can play against each other without it even being an issue. Amplitude Online is going to have a ranking system whereby you have a permanent account. Every time you win or lose, it just basically recalculates your position on the ladder. We're really looking forward to seeing who kind of rises to the top and seeing how, whether or not we can beat them.
Once you're online, you're going to need a persona that fits your style, which is where the freaks come into play.
We have this whole avatar system which allows you to customize your persona, so you can have a little guy on screen. Usually during the game, the little guy actually will play the instrument corresponding to the track that you're on. So if you're on a bass track, your avatar is playing bass. If you're on a keyboard track, they play keyboard. As you work your way through a campaign, you get to unlock more and more freak parts. So you get sunglasses and hats, you get a cool afro. So the farther you are through the campaign, the more customization you can apply to your guy.
Ultimately, it's all of these elements combined that make Amplitude such fun to play.
I think a lot of people are just really going to enjoy these visually stunning worlds. They're going to enjoy going in there and recreating songs and hearing them in a way that they've never heard them before.
The gap is closing, Ryan. The gap is closing.
Victory is always within your grasp. It's all about nailing these tough patterns, and even if you miss it, you feel in your mind like, oh, I could have nailed that. And so you just hit the restart button and go and do it again.
When you compound that with actually competing with other people, it's completely captivating. It's mesmerizing.
Come on! I was so ahead of you.
You get this amazing audio feedback while you're playing, because every time you successfully do something, a great musical sample comes out. The more you do, the better it sounds, the more music opens up, and it just really starts to come alive.